Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we've got quite a stack of sources here. Biographies, public records, financial deep dives, all focused on one person.
Yeah, a figure who's really synonymous with Hollywood itself, isn't he? Thomas Cruise, Mapaldo IV.
Tom Cruise. And our mission really is to try and cut through all the noise,
Yeah.
the constant media swirl.
Exactly. We want to get down to the facts. Look at his, nearly 45-year career, unpack the business side, the immense financial power he wields.
And of course we have to talk about the controversies, especially his role in the Church of Scientology. That's just inseparable from his story, really.
It is. So let's ground this. Where does he stand right now in 2025? The numbers are just huge.
Okay, yeah, the raw stats. His films, over $13.3 billion worldwide gross. That's billion with a B.
Which puts him right up there. I mean, truly in the highest tier of actors ever.
And it's not just money, right? There's the recognition, too. An honorary Palme d'Or at Cannes, 3 Golden Globes.
4 Oscar nominations spanning different kinds of roles, and just recently, some really significant honors.
Like the U.S. Navy's highest civilian award, the Distinguished Public Service Award, end of 2024.
Yeah, and then the BFI Fellowship British Film Institute in early 2025. That's serious industry respect, sustained over decades. Few people ever achieved that kind of longevity and influence.
So you've got this picture, right? The ultimate movie star, the guy who risks everything for the shot.
The showman.
Exactly. But then constantly there's this other narrative running alongside it, the Scientology advocate, the controversy magnet.
It's this duality that makes him so fascinating, I think. So let's trace it back. How did it all start? Because his childhood was nothing like the life he leads now.
Right. Let's get into the genesis of the superstar, the early life, the 80s breakthrough.
Okay, so the sources are pretty clear. Born July 3rd, 1962, Syracuse, New York, and the childhood, marked by, near poverty and just constant moving.
How much moving?
15 schools in 14 years before finishing high school.
Whoa. Just imagine that instability.
And a lot of that stemmed from his father, Thomas Cruise Mapaldo III, an electrical engineer, but the descriptions Cruise uses, they're pretty bleak.
Yeah, I saw those quotes. He called him a merchant of chaos.
A bully, a coward, said he beat the kids.
That's incredibly dark. And Cruise himself drew a lesson from it, didn't he? About trust.
Yeah, he described his father as someone who'd lull you in, make you feel safe, and then bang. Said it taught him, basically, don't trust him. Be careful.
That kind of early experience, that chaos, you have to think it instilled a need for control later on, for precision.
It seems likely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That need for structure, self-reliance. His father passed away in '84, but that early impact seems profound.
Now, before acting really took hold, there was this brief detour, wasn't there, into religion.
Right, yeah, he had a Catholic upbringing.
Yeah.
And for about a year, he was actually at St. Francis Seminary in Cincinnati.
Thinking of becoming a priest.
Apparently so. Franciscan order. He was on a scholarship.
But only for a year.
Yeah.
Why'd he leave?
Well, accounts varied. Some say the family moved again, which, given the track record, sounds plausible. But there's another story from a former classmate, actually, claimed Cruise got caught taking liquor from the seminary and was asked to leave.
Huh. Okay, so maybe not quite the path to priesthood.
Either way, by 18, he'd made a different choice. Moved to New York City, wanted to be an actor. His mom and stepfather supported the move.
And started right at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Buzzboy in New York. Then shifted to L.A., trying for TV roles. His very first film role was tiny. Endless Love, 1981, just a bit part.
But things moved fast after that.
Very fast. Taps, later in '81. That was the real launch pad. Military academy drama.
He wasn't meant to have a big part initially, was he?
No, he was hired basically as an extra background cadet, but the director, Harold Becker, was apparently just blown away by his intensity on set.
So they expanded the role.
Significantly. Turned him into David Shawn, that sort of crazed, standout cadet, a major supporting character. People noticed him in that.
And that really set the stage for the 80s explosion. 1983 feels like the pivotal year.
Definitely. First, Coppola's The Outsiders. Huge ensemble cast, packed with future stars Matt Dillon, Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze.
A real who's who.
Yeah. And then, later that same year, Risky Business.
Ah, yes. The sunglasses, the underwear scene.
It was instantly labeled, a Generation X classic, a career maker. It just perfectly captured his energy, that mix of charm and rebellion.
And that just catapulted him, didn't it? Straight towards Top Gun.
Exactly. 1986, Top Gun wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon. It cemented him as a global superstar, a sex symbol. It really set the template for that high-octane, charismatic action hero he'd become known for.
But what's interesting looking back is he didn't just stick to that, did he? He immediately used that clout to work with serious directors.
Right. That's a smart move. Straight after Top Gun, he does The Color of Money with Martin Scorsese.
Playing pool against Paul Newman, I mean, talk about holding your own.
And critics noticed, they praised the chemistry, so he really believed these guys were top pool players. It showed he had dramatic chops, not just star power.
And he followed that up quickly, Rain Man in '88.
Yeah, opposite Dustin Hoffman. And Rain Man wins Best Picture. Cruise is in a complex supporting role there, showing he could play alongside another huge talent without, just dominating through sheer charisma. It broadened his range again.
But the real turning point, critically speaking, the moment he went from star to maybe respected actor, that was '89, right?
Absolutely. Oliver Stone's born on the 4th of July, playing Ron Kovich, the paralyzed Vietnam vet.
That was a huge swing for him.
Massive. And the reviews were incredible. Roger Ebert wrote something like, nothing Cruise has done will prepare you for what he does in this film. Said the performance was so convincing the movie lived through it.
And that's when the awards really started coming in.
First Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama. And, crucially, his first Oscar nomination for Best Actor. He'd done it. He'd used his box office power to get taken seriously as a dramatic actor.
So as we move into the 1990s, his personal life starts becoming much more public, right? Especially his marriage to Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, they met filming Days of Thunder in 1990s, got married that year, and his next two big films co-starred her.
Days of Thunder, the racing movie, and then Far and Away in '92, that historical epic.
Those were solid hits, but the rest of the 90s really shows him refusing to be pinned down. He kept stretching.
Like The Firm in '93. That was huge, wasn't it? The John Grisham legal thriller?
Massive. Critically acclaimed, commercially successful, proved he could carry a complex, talky movie entirely on his shoulders.
And then, again, this almost whiplash-inducing turn from legal thriller to gothic horror.
Interview with the Vampire, 1994, playing Lestat. And this is where we get that amazing story about Anne Rice, the author.
Right. She was really against him being cast, wasn't she? Very publicly.
Extremely publicly. She wanted Julian Sands, thought Cruise was too, all-American, too Top Gun for the decadent Lestat.
But then she saw the movie.
And did a complete 180. She was apparently just stunned by his performance, how he captured the character.
And she didn't just say it. She paid to say it.
That's the incredible part. Took out a 2-page ad in Daily Variety, cost nearly $8,000 back then, just to publicly apologize and praise his performance, a huge public admission that she was wrong.
That says a lot about his focus, his ability to transform. But 1996, that feels like another massive turning point, maybe the biggest strategically.
Oh, absolutely. 1996 is the year he launches Mission Impossible.
And crucially, he's not just the star, Ethan Hunt. He's the producer.
Exactly. It was the first big project for Cruise Wagner Productions, the company he'd set up with his former agent, Paula Wagner, back in '93.
This shift from just actor to actor producer, that's the foundation of the power he has now, isn't it?
Completely. It gave him control, creative and financial. We'll definitely get more into that. But even while building this franchise machine, he kept chasing the critical hits, too.
Like later in '96, Jerry Maguire?
Yeah, with Cameron Crowe. Show Me the Money.
Iconic. And another massive success, right? Both box office and awards.
Totally. Over $273 million worldwide. Showed he could absolutely nail romantic dramedy, got him his second Golden Globe, this time for musical or comedy, and his second Best Actor Oscar nomination. He was really balancing the blockbuster and the prestige picture perfectly.
And he finished the decade working with absolute legends.
Stanley Kubrick, Eyes Wide Shut, 1999, reuniting with Kidman on screen, a notoriously difficult, long shoot.
But his performance was praised, right, for the commitment.
Yeah, critics noted that sort of fierce dedication he brings to everything, and then almost immediately after Kubrick.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Magnolia.
And in a supporting role, which was a surprise for a star of his magnitude then, playing Frank T.J. Mackey, that toxic motivational speaker.
That role was something else, so intense.
And universally acclaimed. Rolling Stone called him a revelation, said he was fully deserving of the shower of superlatives, described his energy as like a wounded animal.
Wow, and that got him more awards buzz. Third Golden Globe, third Oscar nomination, this time for supporting actor. It proved he was willing to take risks, work with challenging directors, even step out of the leading man spotlight for the right role. He'd truly diversified his portfolio, you could say.
So, okay, entering the 2000s, he's got the critical respect, he's got the production company.
Oh.
Now what?
Now he seems to fully embrace becoming the undisputed king of the blockbuster, leveraging all that capital he'd built up. Mission Impossible 2 kicks off the decade in 2000.
Directed by John Woo. Very different style.
Very different. And it was the biggest film in the world that year, $547 million globally. That really cemented the MI franchise as his core action vehicle.
This is also when he starts working with Spielberg.
Yeah, a major collaboration. First, Vanilla Sky in 2001, which was kind of a remake, a bit more experimental. And then the big one, Minority Report in 2002.
Which is still considered a classic sci-fi film.
Absolutely. Often ranks among the greats. It showed he could anchor these big, intelligent, complex blockbusters, not just pure action.
But he kept mixing it up, even within the action genre.
Definitely. The Last Samurai in 2003, historical action drama, got him another Golden Globe nomination. And then a really interesting move in 2004.
Collateral. Playing the villain.
Yeah, Vincent, the gray-haired hitman, directed by Michael Mann. Such a cool, sleek, neo-noir film. And critics loved him in it. Showed a darker side, totally subverted his usual hero image. It was seen as a really strong performance and a great thriller.
And all this time, Cruise Wagner Productions is humming along behind the scenes.
Right. Co-producing almost all his films, but also backing other interesting projects where he didn't even appear. Like the others, that Nicole Kidman ghost story or Shattered Glass.
So his influence was really growing beyond just his own stardom.
Massively. This is when people like Edward J. Epstein, the Hollywood economist, started calling him one of the most powerful and richest forces in Hollywood.
Epstein said he was in that tiny group, like Spielberg or Lucas, who could basically guarantee $1 billion franchise success, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And Epstein made that crucial point. The public gets so caught up in the tabloid stuff.
Right, the controversies.
That they often miss the exceptional commercial prowess, the sheer strategic brilliance of his business operation.
Which leads us directly to that big rupture in 2006, the split with Paramount.
Yeah, that was huge news. Sumner Redstone, the Viacom chairman back then, publicly announced they were ending their 14-year relationship with Cruise Wagner.
And the reason given was his public behavior. The Oprah couch jump, the Scientology comments.
That was the official line, yeah. Redstone claimed Cruise's antics were costing the studio money.
But was that the real reason? The sources suggest maybe not.
Well, industry analysts at the time, and looking back, felt that the public stuff was more of a convenient excuse. The deeper issue, reportedly, was money.
Specifically the money from the Mission Impossible DVDs.
Yeah. Exactly. Cruise Wagner had negotiated an incredible deal, giving them a huge chunk of the home video revenue, the back-end cuts. DVDs were massive then, and Paramount was apparently furious about how much Cruise's company was taking from this incredibly valuable franchise.
So it was really a fight over profit sharing, disguised as a reaction to his personal life.
That's what many analysts contend. It was about the revolutionary nature of his deal structure.
So what did Cruise and Wagner do after the Paramount split?
They made a power move. Took over the management of United Artists, the historic studio, in late 2006.
So they became studio heads, essentially.
Pretty much. Cruise produced and starred in films there like Lions for Lambs and Valkyrie. Wagner eventually stepped down from the day-to-day in 2008, but kept her stake.
But the split with Paramount didn't last forever, did it?
No. Business logic tends to win out in Hollywood. Cruise eventually went back to Paramount, both as producer and star. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol in 2011 really marked the big return.
And launched the modern era of that franchise, which has been incredibly successful.
Hugely successful. And he's still making strategic moves. January 2024, he announced a new partnership with Warner Bros. Discovery. Developing and producing films there, both original stuff and potential franchises. It shows the industry still sees him as a major creative and financial force.
So the 2010s, 2020s. This is peak Tom Cruise, the global action phenomenon.
Absolutely. Box office juggernaut. He even holds a Guinness World Record for the most consecutive movies grossing over $100 million.
How many was that?
7 films in a row between 2011 and 2018. Just an incredible run of commercial hits.
And then the biggest of them all, Top Gun Maverick in 2022.
Yeah, just blew everyone away. Huge critical acclaim, broke box office records left and right. Over $1 billion worldwide, his highest grossing film ever.
And his personal payday from that was reported to be enormous, wasn't it?
Estimated at around $100 million.
How does that work? How does he make that much from one movie?
It goes back to those back-end deals. He doesn't just take a salary up front. He gets a percentage of the film's total revenue after the studio makes back its costs.
So not just ticket sales.
No, everything. Rentals, streaming deals, Blu-ray sales, TV rights, across the entire life of the film. It's a structure that gives him immense earning potential and, frankly, leverage.
It's incredible financial engineering, really. But even he can't control everything, right? Like what happened with The Last Mission? Impossible.
Right. Dead Reckoning Part 1 in 2023. Critically, it was well received. People liked the movie.
But the box office was disappointing.
Yeah.
Compared to expectations.
Yeah, and largely because of timing. It ran straight into the Barbenheimer phenomenon.
The simultaneous release of Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Exactly. That cultural moment just sucked up all the oxygen, all the screens. It showed that even Tom Cruise can get caught in the cross-currents of unexpected cultural trends. He guarantees spectacle, but not always the release window.
So what's next? He's got another Mission Impossible coming.
Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, set for 2025, and he said this will be his last time playing Ethan Hunt.
The end of an era for that character.
Definitely. But he's not stopping. He's already lining up other big projects, like that untitled film with director Alejandro González Iñárritu at Warner Bros. High prestige stuff.
And still doing crazy stunts. I saw something about him jumping off a stadium roof.
Yeah. Stade de France in Paris, apparently, for a promo shoot for the LA 2028 Olympics. The commitment to spectacle is just undimmed.
Okay, so that's the professional side, unparalleled success, strategic genius, physical commitment. But we have to turn to the other side now. The public life, the personal controversies, mainly revolving around Scientology.
Right, and his involvement there goes way back, since 1986. It's been a constant thread and a constant source of media scrutiny.
Let's trace the relationships again, but through that lens. His first wife, Mimi Rogers.
Married 87 to 90. She was actually a second-generation Scientologist, one of their that's their term for counselors, basically. She's the one who introduced him to Scientology.
And after they divorced, she gave that Playboy interview.
Yeah, in 93. Suggested Cruise had considered becoming a monk and that it affected their intimacy, but she later retracted those specific comments.
Under pressure.
Sources suggest yes. Friends claimed Tom, agents, studios were furious, told her career was basically over unless she walked it back. She did end up getting a substantial divorce settlement, around $4 million.
Then came Nicole Kidman. Met on Days of Thunder, married 1990, adopted 2 children, divorced 2001.
Right. Publicly, Kidman mentioned suffering an ectopic pregnancy and a later miscarriage during the marriage.
But behind the scenes, there were allegations about Scientology's role in the breakup.
Yeah, this comes from former high-ranking Scientologist Mike Rinder. He claimed the church actively worked to break them up. Alleged pressure on Cruise, increased auditing.
And even phone tapping on Kidman.
Rinder alleged that, to monitor her. Now, Cruise's lawyer vehemently denied any wiretapping, but the claim itself points to the perception of the church's deep influence in his personal life.
After Kidman, he dated Penelope Cruz for about 3 years, until 2004. Then things got really intense regarding his relationships in Scientology, didn't they?
That's when Vanity Fair published that explosive article, alleging that after the Cruise breakup, Scientology leaders launched a secret project.
A project to find him a new girlfriend.
Essentially, yes. To audition Scientologist actresses. The article described a process, interviewing candidates, asking deeply personal questions.
And this allegedly led to a brief relationship with actress Nazanin Bonadi.
That was the claim. Bonadi later left Scientology and described the whole process, her time with Cruise, in very harsh terms, comparing it to white slavery.
Wow. How did Scientology and Cruise respond?
Strong denials. Threatened lawsuits against Vanity Fair, called it religious bigotry. But the story stuck, adding to the narrative of intense church involvement in his life. And then, Tomcat.
Ah, yes. Katie Holmes, starting in April 2005. And the couch jump.
The Oprah couch jump. That became the defining image, didn't it? That public declaration of love. It was a lot.
They got married in November 2006, a big Scientologist ceremony in Italy.
With David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology, as his best man. Very high profile.
But the marriage didn't last. Holmes filed for divorce in 2012. And the reason became public later.
Yeah, during subsequent legal proceedings, Cruise himself admitted, under deposition, that Holmes divorced him partly to protect their daughter, Suri, from Scientology.
That's a huge admission.
Massive. He also confirmed Suri is no longer a practicing Scientologist. It really laid bare the personal cost and family conflict stemming from his deep commitment to the church.
And that commitment, as you said, started in '86.
Uh,
He's known to be very close to Miscavige.
Yes, and he credits Scientology's methods, specifically something called study technology, with helping him overcome his dyslexia.
What is study technology exactly?
It's Scientology's approach to learning, focuses on identifying barriers like misunderstood words to improve comprehension. He genuinely believes it helped him significantly.
But his public advocacy for Scientology has often backfired, hasn't it? Yeah.
Consistently. After 9/11, for instance, he co-founded this group, Downtown Medical, offered detoxification therapy to rescue workers.
Based on Scientology principles.
Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard's purification rundown. Saunas, vitamins, oils. But it drew immediate strong criticism from doctors and firefighters. Called it pseudoscience, potentially harmful.
Yet he received an award from Scientology for it.
Yeah, Miscavige gave him the Scientology Freedom Medal of Valor for that initiative, highlighted the disconnect between how the church viewed his actions and how the outside world, particularly the medical community, saw them.
His lobbying efforts have caused issues, too, like in France.
Right. 2005, he lobbied the French Interior Minister, Nicolas Sarkozy at the time, trying to get Scientology recognized officially as a religion there.
And the reaction.
The Council of Paris basically said, no more dealings with this guy, called him a militant spokesman for Scientology, showed his activism could have real diplomatic consequences. We also know he turned down a Kennedy Center honor from President Trump in 2025.
But the biggest public controversy, the one everyone remembers, has to be the anti-psychiatry stuff.
Oh, absolutely. His statement that psychiatry should be outlawed.
Right.
His claim that there's no such thing as a chemical imbalance.
And specifically calling out Brooke Shields for using Paxil for postpartum depression.
Yes. That led to her famous response. Tom should stick to saving the world from aliens and let women who are experiencing postpartum depression decide what treatment options are best for them.
And it culminated in that incredibly awkward, heated interview with Matt Lauer on the Today Show in 2005.
Yeah, where Cruz called Lauer glib for questioning his stance on psychiatric drugs. It was a major media moment.
How did the medical world react?
Very negatively. Medical authorities felt his comments were actively harmful, increasing the stigma around mental illness, potentially stopping people from seeking help. The Lancet, the medical journal, basically said, look, maybe drugs are overused sometimes, but a celebrity shouldn't be adding to the burden of the mentally ill.
Did he ever walk that back?
He did eventually apologize personally to Brooke Shields in 2006, but the public perception damage was significant and long-lasting.
And finally, there's the pattern of litigation. He seems quick to sue to protect his image.
Very much so. He successfully sued tabloids over false claims about his sexuality, won a huge $10 million default judgment against a porn actor who falsely claimed an affair.
But the lawsuit about abandoning his daughter Suri, that one backfired a bit, didn't it?
In a way, he sued In Touch and Life and Style magazines for defamation over headlines claiming he'd abandoned Suri after the divorce.
But during the deposition for that case,
He had to admit under oath that he hadn't actually seen his daughter in 110 days at that point.
oof.
Yeah. While he eventually settled the suit, that admission revealed a difficult personal reality behind the public image he fought so hard to control. It just highlights this constant battle to manage the narrative.
Okay, so weaving this all together, the incredible career, the controversies, how do we understand his enduring legacy? Roger Ebert had a theory, didn't he?
Yeah.
About a formula.
Yeah, Ebert identified what he called the Tom Cruise picture formula, especially looking at those 80s hits, but you can see elements of it recurring throughout his career.
A formula for success. What were the ingredients?
Ebert listed 9 key things. Let's see if I can remember them.
Okay.
1, the Cruise character, usually the hotshot, maybe an underachiever initially.
Right.
2, the mentor figure who guides him. 3, the superior woman, often the love interest, sometimes a superior officer or professional. 4, the craft, the skill he has to master, like flying, pool, lawyering. 5, the arena, the specific world or institution, like Top Gun school, a courtroom. 6, the arcana, the secret knowledge or jargon of that world. 7, the trail, the journey or process of learning. 8, the proto-enemy, often internal flaw, like recklessness or an early rival.
Like Iceman and Top Gun.
Exactly. And finally, 9, the eventual enemy, the external threat or antagonist he has to overcome.
If you apply that to Top Gun, it fits perfectly. Maverick's the hotshot, needs to hone flying, the craft in the arena, Top Gun school, mentored by Viper, deals with his recklessness, proto-enemy, and Iceman, takes on the MiGs, eventual enemy.
Precisely. But what's clever, as Ebert pointed out, is how Cruise sometimes uses the formula but flips the emotional core.
How so?
Take A Few Good Men. Kathy's the hotshot lawyer, the underachiever who coasts. The craft he needs to hone isn't about gaining discipline like Maverick. It's about letting go of his cynical detachment and actually committing, challenging the system.
Ah, I see. So the formula provides structure, but the internal journey can change.
Right. Or Rain Man. Charlie Babbitt is the hotshot hustler. The craft isn't business, it's learning empathy, connecting with his brother. The arcana is understanding Raymond's world. The arena is the road trip. The proto-enemy is his own greed. It's adaptable.
That's fascinating. It explains some of that consistent appeal. Beyond the films, his personal passions have become part of his image too, right? Like aviation.
Definitely. He's been a licensed pilot since '94, flies aerobatics, owns his own P-51 Mustang Warbird. He was inducted into the Living Legends of Aviation group in 2010. It's not just an on-screen thing.
And he has this unique international standing, especially in Japan.
Yeah, remarkably so. Apparently, his connection with Japan is so strong that back in 2006, October 10th was officially declared Tom Cruise Day there. That's a pretty unique honor for a Western celebrity.
And the industry continues to recognize his power, not just as an actor, but as a producer.
Right, receiving the David O. Selznick Achievement Award from the Producers Guild in 2022, that's a major acknowledgement of his business impact.
And the most recent awards really lean into the action star persona.
Seems like it. Winning the Critics' Choice Super Award for Best Actor in an Action Movie 3 years running 2023, 2024, 2025. Even in his 60s, he's still seen as the absolute benchmark for action performance.
So wrapping this all up for you, the listener, what have we seen here? We've tracked this journey from, frankly, a really tough childhood.
Yeah, chaotic, unstable.
To this global figure defined by an almost obsessive need for control. Control over the finances, the back-end deals.
Control over the stunts, the production, the physical performance.
And often trying desperately to control the public narrative, especially around his personal life and beliefs.
And that duality is the core, isn't it? The absolute mastery of filmmaking craft and commercial strategy on one hand.
Contrasted with a personal life constantly under a microscope, often defined by controversial affiliations and legal fights. Like Epstein said, the noise often drowns out appreciation for the sheer scale of his professional achievement.
The sources are clear. He's one of maybe a tiny handful of people left who can reliably open a massive billion-dollar potential movie purely on his name and commitment.
So given that undeniable bankability, that dedication to spectacle, the unique financial power he holds, we have to leave you with a question to think about.
With Mission Impossible supposedly ending for him in 2025, does the entire concept of the singular, globally bankable movie star now rest primarily on his shoulders?
And if it does, what happens to the blockbuster landscape when Ethan Hunt finally hangs it up? What does that future look like? Something for you to chew on.